Welcome in on this Thursday morning. I am Janae, Hancock. Today is an exciting day because we are bringing you a news segment here in the KCTV5 Newsroom. Voices of the Newsroom, where we will shine a light on the talent here at KCTV5 every other Thursday at 11:30 on our streaming platforms. Reporters, anchors, and meteorologists will talk about their background, where they are from, what brought them to Kansas City, and the memorable stories they have reported on while here at KCTV5. And today we are starting with KCTV5's Grace Smith from the great state of Texas.
Oh,
Grace,
yeah.
Grace, welcome to the live desk.
Thank you, Janae.
Also, welcome to Voices of the Newsroom. Tell us a little bit more about you and maybe what our viewers don't know.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here this morning. A little bit about me. I am from San Antonio, Texas, born and raised. Then I went to Baylor University. That is my twin brother there. A little throwback photo. So obviously growing up in Texas, a lot of fishing, which is what you see us doing there at an early age, and hunting as well. That's my family. So yeah, just a very family-oriented gal. Me and my brother went to Baylor University, where we graduated in 2021. I minored in communications and majored in journalism. Just a great experience, honestly. I loved Baylor University. And then there's my family again, my boyfriend Jacob with me.
And Sunny.
And Sunny. Okay, so I just got this dog. You can see just how tiny she is. She is really... she's rocked my world, that little thing. She is a red poodle, and she's predicted to be about 6.5 pounds. So she's a handful, even though she doesn't even weigh like 2 pounds right now.
Oh, she is tiny. But I think that's what a lot of people don't know about you, Grace. Well, you're from Texas. Let's start there. And the fact that you have a twin brother, that's always going to be so unique. And you're from such a close, tight-knit family, and that's what you love the most. And I think that's what makes you. Tell us a little bit more about why you chose to enter the news field, the news business, I should say.
Well, I gotta say, I've always been a newsie. I've watched every, crime show, police show, but it started at an early age. I would watch the news with my grandparents, and I just loved it. Like, I thought, it was that show that you're waiting for to watch, that was the news for me. And I just kind of got that news bug starting at an early age. And what my mom always told me was like, just how often people would just tell me their stories. Like, we were in Dillard's one time. I remember when I was probably about 10 or 11, and the cashier just like tells me her whole entire life story as we're checking out. And my mom just like looked at me. She was like, "What did you say to her?" I was like, "Nothing, nothing." So I just am blessed that I guess people open up to me and just want to share their stories with me. And I truly I'm lucky that, people are willing to do that, because I just find such great joy in listening to people. And, this is cliche, being the voice that, people don't have, and sharing their voice, but truly that just means so much to me. And I also learn so much every single day. I mean, we're out here in different communities, on different subjects. The thing I love about General Assignment is just we're covering everything. So
from the happy
day,
to the sad,
to
the hard hitting stories as well. Your first stop. Where was your first stop before you made your way to Kansas City?
Yes, so I flew all the way up to Eugene, Oregon, after graduating Baylor, and honestly, sight unseen for me. And I really chose that because growing up in Texas, everyone's the same. It's not a bubble, but it kind of is. And so I just wanted to experience something totally opposite. So I was like, where's that? And that, of course, is Oregon. So I just had the best time there. Truly, I learned so much, not about just me, but just about life in general. And that truly has shaped me for who I'll forever be. So I spent 2 years there, and then luckily ended up here. So that was just kind of by the grace of God, was praying about it a lot, and landed here, and I couldn't be more happy. I mean, this community is something else. And I remember this was sight unseen too. I had never been here.
Same.
And and just I keep looking over to you. But yeah, just immediately I felt like I was just coming to a place that's a giant hug. That's how I remember telling my parents. I was like, everyone here is just so nice. They're so welcoming. And you really just don't experience that a lot in the different parts of the country. You know, there's Southern hospitality, but here it's just different. People are just genuinely nice. And it's hard to not, you know, like a place like this. So I'm so blessed. And especially like with the Chiefs and all that, it was so cool.
You're never bored. There's always something going on. And I think what a lot of our viewers maybe don't understand or don't get to see when they see us in front of their cameras is that we had previous stops before we made our way to Kansas City if we're not from this area. And those stations also help shape us. But to be here in Kansas City, it's funny you say it's like a big hug because I know Heidi Gardner has also said that as well.
Oh, she has?
Yes. So when you said that, I'm like, oh, Heidi Gardner. But being here at KCTV5, tell us a little bit more about your favorite story here so far, because you have reported on so many different things.
Yes. So one of my favorite stories, I do have to say, goes back to just meeting people and getting to know them. So this story here was about a lady who lives off Prospect Avenue, where we know there is some crime in that area. And we had covered just another shooting there in the area. And this lady, she just immediately grabbed my attention. She was just standing outside of her house there. Her whole family was outside. And just hours before that, a shooting had occurred. So I'm like, let me just go talk to this lady. And she opened up and just told us about, you know, what it's like actually living in an area where they don't even flinch, you know, when they hear gunshots. And but she talked about that quote there, "You're killing the future." And that really stuck to me because, you know, she had grandkids that were outside playing too. And she was just like, you know, these killings, they're literally killing our future. And I just thought that was so powerful to see. And she was just amazing. So this story has always stuck with me and just goes back to just wanting to hear people and them open up to me about just kind of what it's like, what they're going through. And I learned a lot from that lady. And she's very positive, happy person. And just, you know, she's like, we can't live here anymore. But she was just amazing. And that story has always stuck with me.
And, you know, she's made her way to the station as well, even bringing us food. She just has a huge heart. But what made this story so different for me is that we're always focusing on the shootings, as we should be, letting our community know, but just the people who have been impacted and how she said there, like you said, you're killing our future. Her grandchildren that are in that area just playing, just the innocence there. And she's just in there making food, hoping for the best. But that's a great story. Grace, I think just one final question for you. I didn't give you a heads up on this because, I want to genuinely hear your answer. And I guess as we take a look at these photos once again, one message that you would tell your younger self, looking back at young Grace Smith in Texas, what would you tell her, especially where you are now?
I would say just be bold and follow your heart and don't let other people's opinions get in the way. And I think that is a huge message for anyone, not just, you know, wanting to go in this field or whatever, but I think the world around us is so noisy, especially right now, and especially with social media, you know, and people don't really care what they're saying to you. And for a while, I let that get into my head, like, oh, like, I'm not going to say this or do this because, you know, someone might think it's weird or whatever. And so for a while, I let that silence myself. And I would just go back and tell that little girl, like, don't listen to these people. Like, people are going to say whatever they want to say. Who cares, you know? And I think that I would love for her to know that right now.
I love that. It's all about believing in yourself. Grace Smith, thank you so much for joining me here at the live desk. It has been a pleasure on this Thursday morning. And again, this was our very first segment of Voices of the Newsroom, where we will shine a light on the talent here at KCTV5. And you can tune in every other Thursday at 11:30 on our streaming platforms. So we'll meet you right back here on March 20th.